Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today. I'm Vince Montero. We started a little bit late to let people get into this broadcast. We advertised this AMA session, probably one of the first times we've sent out an email about this episode. So we wanted to give people time to log in. Like I said, my name is Vince Montero, and this is Tacos Tuesday. That is Tacos Tuesday. That stands for total ACoS, not just tacos. Total ACoS is a metric that we like to promote, and we do leverage in our advertising platform at Atomic. So that's what the namesake is. But today we won't be talking about anything related to tacos, unless you have questions about this. If this is your first time joining us, typically what I do is share some information, typically maybe changes that have come up with Amazon, or changes within our platform. And then we do Q&A. So we'll be doing the same thing today as well. But the goal of today's session really is to dig in deeper. And for some of you that are watching, this might be a repeat of something I did last month. But we really want to share the benefits of a particular campaign type, sponsored display, product targeting campaigns. And specifically, not only share the benefits, but inform you guys that did get an email about this on Friday, that there is a promotion happening right now in conjunction with Amazon advertising. We are offering, or Amazon, I should say, is offering a $200 ad credit if you try one of these types of campaigns. So there are a few qualifiers for this particular promotion. Number one, you have to be able to build sponsored display product targeting campaigns. That automatically means you have to be brand registered in order to build this particular campaign type. And you also have to be, it has to be the first one that you've ever built. So if you have existing sponsored display product targeting campaigns before August 9th, which was yesterday, then those do not qualify. So this promotion running for 2 weeks starting yesterday, ending in, I believe, the 16th, so 2 Mondays from now, is basically reserved for people that have not ever tried sponsored display product targeting campaigns before. So those are the qualifiers. There are some other things that you have to be in good standing with Amazon. You can't have negatives on your account or marks on your account. And the campaign has to run at least until, I believe, August 27th. And then at the end of this month is when that $200 would be applied. If you built your first product targeting campaign, it stays on and in good standing until at least the 27th. Then at the end of the month, you would see a $200 credit applied to your Amazon advertising account. And the great thing is that you'd be able to use that $200 for the rest of the month of September. So across your entire PPC account, that $200 would go against anything that you spend. So I'm sure most of you, if you take advantage of this offer, would not have any problem spending $200 in a given month on your PPC. So those are some of the requirements around the promotion. If you have specific questions about the promotion, pop them in the questions, and I can go over that. I've got the landing page open, I believe, on one of them, so we can reference that if you would like as well. And then I'm going to go through some slides just for, again, the people that have not ever run this campaign before. I want to make sure you guys are fully aware, so we do have some slide content. And then if I have time, I'm going to do an example. I'll build out a sponsored display product targeting campaign for you guys live, so you can see how to do that in Seller Central and what some of the nuances are on that. But first, I want to open up the grab bag of questions that we already do have, that I do get. We do have an email, ppcama@helium10.com, that you could send questions to ahead of time, or maybe if it is questions that you have in this session right now that I didn't cover. So we do have that available right now. You can see it's on the screen. So I have questions that were sent ahead of time, and I always select 2 or 3 that I feel are really valuable to the group to answer. So to start the session, I'm going to go ahead and answer those questions that have been pre-sent, and then I'm going to look through the comments. I already see there's a lot of questions coming in, so I'm going to answer those too, and then we'll go into the slides and we'll go from there. We'll see how it goes. So Vasil asks, I would like to ask if putting a comma between the separate words in your keywords, he gives an example, rich Vespine gas equal to rich Vespine comma gas. So Vasil, it doesn't matter. Commas are not used when you enter those into keywords, so don't do it. It's not even entered. It's not even used if you put it in the search terms, the backend keyword page. The actual suggestion is to not use commas ever. So as a general rule, don't use commas in your keywords. Don't use commas in your search terms. Any kind of grammatical marks or anything like that do not they don't transpose. They do not get used by Amazon. They simply get removed or overlooked. So do not waste your character space on commas. The next question was actually quite long. So as a reminder to you guys, this box is very small. So I tend to not showcase ones that are very long questions, just as a note to you guys. So this one is very long, and basically Tom described that he had, I believe they were plant pots, flower pots, and he had different colors of his flower pots. And he included the SKUs and all this kind of information. So I basically just drilled it down to what his question was about the variations. And I get this question a lot about variations. People are always asking about variations. How do they run them? How do they not compete against themselves? So let's just look at this. So he's basically just asking of his flower pots that are all different colors, how do I advertise my variations without competing against my own products? Stop worrying about that, Tom. Like, I don't know why people worry about competing against your own products. You guys got a billion other competitors out there. So the fact that you're also competing on the same keywords for your own products is not a bad thing. They all use almost identical sets of keywords. He says, okay, some are unique, like colors, because again, they were different colors. So how do I set keyword outer campaigns, and how do I go about bidding strategy in research and performance? So effectively, I always say there's two approaches when doing variations specifically for PPC. You could have a campaign for each color. You'd of course have the different color keywords in there as well for each separate campaign. And you would just run that, and that gives you the opportunity to take up more real estate on the search results page if somebody is searching for a flower pot that's in your size, right? If they say 12-inch flower pot and you've got that and you've got 4 different colors, potentially you're going to show up 4 times in the search results page. So are you competing against yourself showing up 4 different times? And I suppose, but it's a really good thing if you showed up 4 different times. If you have the budget for that, then do it. Yes, it might be the same keywords, but the user's only going to click on one of them, potentially, maybe their favorite color, and then make their decision. So if you have budget to do that, it's something that I actually recommend. The more real estate you can take up on your search result page, the more you're going to call attention from the shopper to your product. Now, if your budget's tight, then the alternative is to pick the color that you think is going to be the best seller, or if you already have data on that, drive the PPC just to that particular color. And then you'll see the results of the keywords, and you'll see what people are actually ending up buying. If it's the color you picked, great. Sometimes it'll be a different color that sells better than the one that you selected for your PPC campaigns. If you start to see that, then you shift your budget to the brown versus the black flower pot, and then you focus your PPC budget on that. So it really depends on how you want to spread your budget, if you want to be more granular with it, or if you want to cast a wide net. Those are the two major differences. As far as competing against yourself, Amazon says this repeatedly, and I'll say it repeatedly, you don't compete against yourself for keywords in your same campaign. What you need to be worried about is all the competitors, all the other people out there that are competing against you for those same keywords. Those are the people you have to worry about. And those are the reasons why you do PPC. So I wouldn't suggest anything different in the setup. Depending on which way you go, you'd want to auto campaign, you'd want a broad and a research campaign, a broad match research campaign, and a exact match performance campaign. So the setup is no different if you're launching these. So hopefully that answers the questions about variations. So let's go ahead and answer some of the questions that we got as soon as I started talking about this. So let's see. Igor says, how often can I touch the campaign bids? Does it affect campaign performance if I adjust them on a daily basis? I notice a decline in performance when I do it daily, even if the change is slight. Yeah, Igor, if you're changing your bids daily, then you're not giving yourself, or if you're using our tool, you're not giving it time to actually see how it's doing. So the whole point of changing a bid is to see how it does. If you're changing it every single day, then you're not getting the data that you need to do that. So don't do that. Unless you've got super, super high volume keywords, that's the only reason that you'd be wanting to change the bids on a daily basis. If you've got regular volume, search keywords, then once a week, then is when you would change the bids, or use a tool like Atomic, and it shows you based on at least a minimum week's worth of data, what the result was and what a suggested bid change is. So that's what I would suggest for you. You gotta stop doing that. Audrey says, do you need to be on a diamond plan to take advantage? You do not, actually. This is a promotion from Amazon to us. So to you guys, actually, to our Helium 10 users. I will say this, though, this was a qualifying. We had to submit a user list in order to get approved for this particular one. So again, based on the limitations that I suggested or mentioned earlier about the requirements of what this promo is, if you did not get an email on this on Friday, then you are not qualified to do this promotion. So that's a simple way to know whether or not you're eligible for this is, did you get an email? Jake says, lame. I know Jake was hoping that this promotion would be for everybody, but it is not. We cannot just give away money for all kinds of things or for all kinds of reasons, unfortunately. Let's see. So Manisha says, please tell how to strategize keywords in PPC to get top rank with a gradual budget. Manisha, this is something that I will say, if you've got a small budget, the best thing that you can do is just look for lower search volume keywords. The best thing that you can do is try to find those longer tail keywords and see if you convert on some of those. If you have a small budget and you try to convert on the higher search volume keywords, then you're just going to blow through your budget, potentially not see maybe you would get a sale, but most likely you're just going to blow through your budget, right? So we want to make sure that if you've got a small budget, you just make sure that the keywords you're bidding on are, longer tail. And by longer tail, that means they're like phrases. So if you've got dog collar, then you're going to search for large brown dog collar, right? There's less people typing in that. It's more niche, it's more specific, but most people are just typing in dog collar. So if you bid on that keyword, you're just going to blow through your budget. So that is the way to gradually, I would say, launch yourself when you're doing PPC. Okay. Let's go into the slides, because I do want to go into some of the details around sponsored display product targeting. Kind of go through them pretty quickly because I know people have lots of different questions on this. So let me go ahead and do presentation mode. And again, some of you might have already seen this if you come to my sessions regularly. Why did it start there? So let's go back to the beginning. This is something that I went over, I believe, at the beginning of July. And this was, we wanted to do this again because, again, this is specific to the promotion that we have running. If you guys got an email about this and you're joining today because of that, then I want to make sure you guys have the details. So for those who are not aware, this is what the sponsored display campaign type looks like. When you're on a listing itself, you generally always see under the bullets an ad, under the buy box an ad. So this is the campaign type that we're talking about specifically, and this is the type of campaign Amazon wants you to try if you are brand registered and you have not yet tested one of these campaigns. They're really powerful, as you can see from that position alone. It's really, really great for visibility. There's 4 specific things that I like about these campaign types. Number 1 is that it allows you to target specific product detail pages. And the ads are sometimes above the fold. Above the fold means that they're visible without the user shopper scrolling, right? So this is the only campaign type that has really ads above the fold. so that the user does not, or shopper does not have to scroll. If you have any kind of coupon or deal, it will show that as well. And Amazon likes to say that they see averages 40% or maybe 42% increase in CTR if you're running a coupon and you have that badge or a deal. So this is something that takes advantage of that as well. It allows you to target niche product categories. You can refine by different results like price, brand, rank, and more, which I'll go into a little bit later. But the main thing is that not only can you target specific ASINs, but you can target by an entire category. And I'll show you how to do some refinements to that category. And it allows for customization of the creative. So you can add a creative element to the ad and a tagline, kind of like a sponsored brand ad, if you guys have had those running as well. And it looks similar to this. So at the bottom, you see we were able to add a logo, and then we were able to add a note, get more traction and control versus carbon fiber grips. So if we did not add that creative, then it would basically just be the standard, which is the product image and then the title and the rating and the rank that you can see right there. So we did a case study with this particular user, and they had not done any sponsored display product targeting campaigns at all. So we ran some, or we suggested that they launch some for their products, and they did. And this is a result that they had. And this is overall. This is not just from this particular campaign type, but we wanted to see what the overall lift in all PPC sales was from having this new campaign type. And there's another placement variation that you see there on the right. So for 6 weeks running PPC before they launched this particular campaign type, total PPC sales were 20,372. That should be a comma there, not a period. 6 weeks total PPC sales after they launched this particular product targeting campaign went up by $7,000, $27,816. So that was the only major difference between the two. We were also monitoring their PPC and optimizations before and after, so nothing really changed in their account except for the fact that they launched these particular campaign types. So the result is a 36% increase in total PPC sales after adding sponsored display product targeting ads. So here's some strategies that you can use for these sponsored display campaigns. And I actually used one of these strategies to pull up some ASINs that I will use for you guys as an example if we have time for that. But yeah, use your search term reports. Use campaigns that you already have running, your auto campaigns. If you're using sponsored product targeting campaign, even sponsored brand campaigns have product targeting campaigns. So if you're already running those campaign types that have ASINs in them, look at that, pull out the data, and leverage that as your list or starting point for sponsored display product targeting campaigns. And you always want to run category targeting as well, again, with the refinements. And that helps you just get more exposure and more brand awareness. And then it's kind of like running an auto campaign in the sense that you're just telling Amazon the category, and they're displaying your ad on different products within that category. And even from there, you're able to refine that. Obviously, when you optimize, and you can get potentially some really good ASINs out of that. So pro tip, again, is always around refining this category, because if your product is in a very broad category, you don't want to necessarily select the category that Amazon gives you. They will generally always give you a category when you're running this type of campaign. So this is an example. In this particular account, we were launching a product targeting campaign for sponsored display, and the category that Amazon suggested was just indoor bike storage, which is great, but it's a very, very broad category, lots of different variations, price points, different styles of racks. So you really want to refine as much as you can when you're selecting the category. And you can see in this image here, this allows you to do that, these selections here. You can refine by brand, price, star rating, and Prime status. The only two that I really recommend that you refine by, unless you have specific brands that you want to be seen against, and maybe some others that you do not. But price and star rating are the two minimums that you want to do. You always want to basically only be shown on products that are higher, that cost more than your particular product. So in this example, the cost for this bike rack was $39.99. So I only want to be seen on product listings that are $40 and above, because that gives you an automatic edge when shoppers are comparing and looking at your ad on that listing that they're on that's slightly higher than their particular product that they just clicked on. And then star ratings. This particular product has a 5-star rating. So I only want to be shown on products that have a 4-star rating and below. So again, I have a competitive advantage against those other products because the user or the shopper can see a higher star rating in your little ad. They can see you have more stars than the product that they're actually looking at that they may have clicked on. So all of these can be done within Seller Central. Those kind of levers cannot be done yet in Atomic. So I like to show how you do that from the Seller Central console. Other product targeting tips: use category and ASIN targeting in the same campaign. So try to get a mix of ASINs, do some research, do Cerebro, look at your search terms again that I mentioned, find ASINs that have converted, find ASINs maybe that you want to test. So manually put in ASINs, but also mix in a category, add a category and add refinements like I just showed you. This seems to perform better than just adding ASINs by themselves or a category by themselves. If you can do this, the more products you can put into a sponsored display campaign, the better. I believe the primary reason Amazon says this is because, as you saw, there's several placements. Well, I only showed you 2, but there are actually many placements of sponsored display product targeting on a listing. So the more products you have, you increase the likelihood that you're going to be seen maybe even several times on the same listing, which is pretty powerful. So if you have more than one product that you can use for sponsored display that are even similar, I suggest doing that. If you don't have that, of course, still do this type of sponsored display campaign. Definitely do them when you have lightning deals. Of course, like I mentioned, even with coupons, you're going to have that badge. Run sponsored display campaigns using your own ASINs. When you're looking at that listing I just showed you, those ads are always going to be there. They're always going to be below the bullets and typically below the buy box. Why not have your ad being displayed there on your own product listings? So it's a way of protecting that real estate on your own listings is by targeting your own ASINs. And you want to, if you really want to be seen, let's say you can't afford to be seen on some of the top keywords, maybe look at the ASINs that are appearing for the top keywords in your search results. If the ASINs that are there, if you then get seen on that listing, once a shopper clicks on it, you're taking advantage of the fact that these other sellers are being displayed for those high volume keywords without necessarily having to pay for those high volume keywords. You're kind of piggybacking the success that these other sellers are doing by appearing at the top of the search results for certain keywords, but you're only appearing then on their actual listing. So you can create a sponsored display in Atomic. So those of you who have access to it, if you're platinum, you would need to upgrade to diamond in order to use this. But again, only for brand registered sellers is sponsored display available in our tool. You can do it's just product targeting. There's actually another type of product targeting campaign called audience targeting, which I went over, I believe, at the last AMA 3 weeks ago. But this one that we're talking about right here, specifically today, and even in our tool, is just for ASIN targeted campaigns. Our tool will automatically create rules for you. So that is one benefit of using our tool versus just doing it manually in Seller Central. And what it will do is find converting ASINs to promote from one campaign to another. And it'll also find the ASINs that are not doing really well and suggest that you make them a negative. These suggestions can be reviewed, recommendations can be reviewed on our suggestions page, which is only in our Atomic tool. So that is it for that. We can stop sharing this screen now. So I want to make sure, because that was a lot of information that I just went through. So I want to make sure that I didn't miss any questions, because as you know, when you do presentations, it takes up the whole screen. So I don't even get to see if you guys were asking questions while I was talking. So hopefully I didn't lose a lot of you. So let's look at some of the questions here before I go to the demo of adding one of these campaigns. Rhonda says, what about bidding at a keyword 0.8 and then adjusting bids 100% placement by top of search and 50%? So that definitely is a strategy at launch, especially if you don't want to have to manually go in and increase the bids on all the keywords that you are trying to test. What I generally suggest is when you're launching a campaign, accept the suggested keyword bids that are there. The keyword suggestions or the bid suggestions they're just a snapshot at that moment in time. So when you're looking at bid suggestions in Amazon and you're just launching a campaign, it is simply what it is at that time, what's the highest and lowest. And generally Amazon just gives you the middle. So what I suggest is just accept that bid suggestion, whether that be 0.8 or whatever it is, and then just do 100% placement top of search, because effectively you're doubling your bid. And generally when you look at bid suggestions, again, since it's always kind of in the middle, if you double it, you're going to be at the higher end of what is suggested for that. So again, instead of manually going in and increasing all the keywords to whatever that double is or that highest recommend or suggestion is, just go and do 100%. And you're just telling Amazon, I'm willing to double this bid if it is going to be more likely to appear top of search, which you definitely want to do. So if you want to do 50% placement by product pages as well, then yeah, you can absolutely do that. But 50% placement by product pages, that's really one. I would suggest that you put that money towards your product targeting campaigns. So if you're running sponsored product targeting campaigns, or any product targeting campaigns, that means you want to be seen on actual listings. So I would reserve that 50% placement by product pages for your campaigns that are only appearing on product pages. For the campaigns that are appearing in the search results page, then that is where you use the placement or the increased placement bidding for top of search. So hopefully that makes sense, Rana. That is why there's two different ones there in the placement sections, because one is specifically for search results and the other one is specifically for product listing results. The ads that you see when you're on an actual listing, which is what we're talking about, what this campaign type is that we are promoting with Amazon right now. Okay. Lots of vague questions, guys. Mascaras, hi, I am new in the world of Amazon. How can I have a good conversion using PPC? Tell me your secret. There's no secret. You have to learn. You have to come to sessions like this. You have to watch pro trainings. You have to learn a lot of different. There's way too many variables to drill it down to a secret. There's far too many new sellers coming to this and coming to PPC thinking that there's like a one size fits all solution. It depends on your product. It depends on the niche. It depends on competition. There's all kinds of variables that surround the success of PPC. So I suggest that you do as much training as possible. Helium 10 offers a lot of different trainings. We have Freedom Ticket. We have Academy for our own tools that you can learn about. But yeah, there's no way to answer a question like that. Sorry. Same with the Manisha. How do you raise CPR for product and the best trick to rank product? Anything regarding tricks or secrets, guys? There's best practices and things, but there's not really tricks. There's just doing things the right way and the best way that you can, making sure that you launch products correctly, making sure that your bidding is the way it should be so that your product gets seen. There's different things that you can do. There's different programs that you can do, like search, find, buy, which is outside of PPC, but that's this conversation. These topics are all about PPC. So there's all different things that you can do, but not something that I can cover in these sessions. All right. Jake Paulson says, go back and watch all the past Taco Tuesday sessions. Just always have Vince on in the background. We do. Thank you, Jake. We do have a playlist in YouTube. So if you wanted to find, I need to make sure that it's updated actually, because sometimes we do one of these and then it doesn't get added to the playlist for some reason. So, but generally all my sessions are in there, and you can watch from the beginning. You can watch from the latest down, however you want to do it. But the training is there. Just do not expect to get like a one size fits all answer to like tricks or secrets like this in this type of session. YSS Corporation, who's a regular to our episode. I just saw the name, so I just want to make sure that I try to answer your question. If you only have a small budget, then what Atomic suggests would Atomic be able to help? Say if we are only able to spend 25% of the suggested budgets. So if you're only able to spend 25% of the suggested budgets, then set your budgets to whatever you can afford. The budgets are all controlled by Amazon. So if you run out of budget at a certain time, that's going to happen within Amazon. We don't get instant notifications of when you get out of budget. I don't think that you guys do either. So typically when you log in is when you know that you're out of budget. The only thing I can say is that's what you want to avoid. You want to avoid going out of budget. So if you have only a small budget, then like my suggestion was before, then only try to test long tail keywords that are longer phrases that people are typing in that have less search volume. That might be the only way that you can go until you get more budget. So the trick to how do I convert on higher search volume keywords is you need more budget. So you have to throw more money at it. Now, while I'm saying that though, what the namesake of this show again is Tacos Tuesday, right? Total ACoS. So hopefully, if you're using a tool like Atomic, you're following your total ACoS. What happens with most sellers and why they fail with PPC is that they're so focused on their ACoS, which is the wrong focus, that they forget that they're trying to get total sales. Not the goal of Amazon is not just have PPC sales. The goal of Amazon is to have total sales, right? Organic plus PPC sales. Well, we do know that your PPC helps your organic sales. There's all kinds of sessions on that show and the reasons why PPC does help affect the rankings of keywords, which then helps affect your organic sales. An advertisement is an advertisement. The more someone sees it, whether it be a radio commercial or a TV commercial or a billboard on the side of the road, the more time someone sees it, they're going to remember your brand and they might come back to Amazon and maybe type in your brand name. That's an organic sale, but it only happened because you're PPC. So a tip I would say is for newer sellers, stop focusing on your ACoS, start focusing on your total ACoS. If you don't have a tool that monitors that, get Atomic. We have that. Or else look at your business reports on at least a monthly basis. Look at what your total sales are for a given month and then compare that against your PPC spend. That's how you can also get your total ACoS as well. All right. Let's see. Tell me about, Mohammed says, tell me about the German marketplace. My client wants to have a launch there. So as far as, there's another question about Dubai, right? So other marketplaces, what you guys have to remember, and especially this is a good one for you, Mohammed, because you're saying you're a client. So if you have clients, you have access to multiple logins, or sorry, you have access to multiple accounts through one login. So you're sending your clients your login to get you approved and get you visibility into their account so you can help manage their PPC campaigns. Well, that one login that you're using, that's all you need for Atomic. So as long as it's the same login that you're using for Atomic, then Germany is going to come up, Dubai is going to come up. So even though Helium-10 might not be, Helium-10, the rest of our tools might not be available in Dubai, which was another question above, which I don't know the answer to, Maha, if Helium-10 is available in Dubai. That's not a PPC question. If it doesn't matter, through Atomic, you can see all marketplaces because it's tied to your login. So Mohammed, my answer to you is yes, you can see the German market in Atomic. So if you want to use our tool to launch your campaigns there, you can. So let's see, YSS, again, I have a keyword with 2 words. Yeah, that's not long tail. That's a short tail keyword. In phrase format that performs well, but that keyword has an ACoS of, 90% always. If I move that to exact, then it doesn't perform. Should I continue to have it? I would try to figure out what other search terms are contributing to those sales, and then get rid of the 2-word version. This is the basics of optimization, guys. When you have a sale from a high ACoS keyword, then that means, and this is phrase, so I know there's other variations of search terms, target the variations. They're going to be longer tail keywords, which are less expensive. So hopefully you'll lower the ACoS. That's how you do it. So if you move it to exact, yes, sometimes it doesn't perform. We try to move things to exact so that we can really have more control over that keyword in the bidding. But we're trying to control Amazon's algorithm. We can't always do that. So what I would suggest, again, is looking at those search terms that have made sales that are different versions of that phrase match keyword, and target those as phrase match. You should still try to target it as exact. You might get a hit on it eventually, and then you'll have that more control over that 2-keyword phrase. But you're more likely going to still say, you're still going to see sales on that particular keyword, and you might see sales on different variations of that keyword in phrase match. And the other thing I want to say too, though, is if that 90% keyword is the bulk of your sales, or if it's really, really good for impressions, if that two keyword that phrase is like your actual product, it's like the most defined version of whatever your product is, then you might want to keep it on simply because of the impressions. If it's got a high impression count, then that means a lot of people are looking at it. And again, you're getting branding from that, right? So I consider that a loss leader type keyword. You guys might have heard me say that before. There's going to be keywords that you run that are always going to be a high ACoS, but there's a lot of impressions. A lot of people are looking at it, and that's always good. Visibility and more impressions are always good for your campaign. So make sure you keep that in mind. All right. So Velma says Atomic should be given to everyone that pays for Helium 10. Why do that to Platinum users? I went from Diamond to Platinum because of limited budget, so I lost Atomic. Velma, I agree with you to some extent. There's at Platinum level, you still get access to our dashboard and analytics. I don't know if you know that, Velma, so that's why I'm answering your question. So you still get access to a lot of information that you're not going to get through Seller Central. So if you've used our dashboard, if you've seen our dashboard, if you've used analytics to go through your search term reports without having to download your search term reports, that's a huge benefit, even at Platinum. So we're providing a massive value just in those 2 pages for Platinum. What I will say about needing to be Diamond is Diamond's always been the same price. It's always been $187. So we just added Atomic to it. Like, you still get all of the benefits of Diamond. We just added Atomic to it. So it's really not, we're not charging you extra for it. It was just included in the Diamond plan. So just want to make sure you're aware of that, Velma, that even at Platinum, you still get access to 2 powerful sections of the tool. You're welcome, Manisha. Okay, let's see. That's Igor's question, and then I will go and see if I can really quickly help you guys with a demo. Is it actually true that targeting more than 5 keywords in one manual campaign is bad? And does it mean that SCAG structure, as I understand that, one campaign, one keyword works better in terms of the algorithm? So it's not that it's necessarily bad, and I definitely wouldn't say 5 keywords is a cap, Igor. 5 keywords is if you have super high volume keywords. Yes, 5 is if these keywords are 30,000 search volume a month. Yeah, you don't want to do more than 5. So again, it really depends on the search volumes to the keywords, and that dictates how many keywords should be in that campaign. So if you've got really low volume keywords, then you can have maybe up to 15 to 20 of those types of keywords. Middle range search volume keywords for your product, then you maybe want to only cap it at 10. So the point of that is just making sure that the search volumes are consistent in the keywords that you have grouped together, so that one particular keyword or 2 doesn't just blow through the budget because of the higher search volumes, and so that you don't get data on the rest of the keywords. So that is the reason why we suggest watching the keywords that are in your campaigns. And even in our own tool, we're going to be looking at capping the number of keywords that can be moved or suggested from one campaign to another, given how many keywords are already in the existing campaign. Right now, that's a manual process that you still have to watch, but at least we're still giving you the suggestions, finding the keywords for you to be able to then potentially promote manually in a new campaign. So that's what I recommend. Single keyword ad group structures. There's no evidence that I've seen that says they work better necessarily. The only benefit to doing that is that you have more control, because then you can leverage things like the placements bidding, and you just know it's just for this one keyword. The downside to that is that if you've got many products and many keywords, then you're talking about thousands of campaigns. Any good account is bidding upon at any given time, and maybe a good 500 keywords minimum, right? So testing 500 campaigns is just, to me, that's a lot. that's intense. Even with a tool, that would be a lot to manage. So from a management standpoint, that is why I don't think that is a scalable solution to doing your campaigns. All right. Mohammed says, after how many days of auto campaign can we check our keywords, and after how many days we have to optimize it? So your auto campaigns it really depends. You can have an auto campaign that runs for a few days and has nothing, right? You can have an auto campaign that is on for a couple of days and it does a ton of recommendations, suggestions. This is all done through Amazon. So if you've got a really hot product, then you're gonna have a lot of data really, really quickly. So if you're talking about minimums, what I would say is 7 days. It's always 7 days, because you want to have enough data to look at. You want to be able to say, okay, this auto campaign's been on for a week. What did I get? What search terms have converted? What search terms have blown through my budget or have gone over 10 clicks and has no sales? Those are the ones I want to isolate and make negative. So I'd say minimum 7 days. If you have a tool, whether it be Atomic or a different tool, most tools do this. They will look at your search terms for you. And auto campaigns especially can be really, really hard to manage because, again, it's Amazon running the campaign, right? So they can go out crazy sometimes with your auto campaigns. So it's really important to be watching this manually at least once a week, or to be leveraging a tool to help, make sure that you are keeping that budget in check, and on point. All right. Let's go ahead and in the last 12 minutes, just go through an example. I like to show within Seller Central, how some of these things are done. So let's go ahead and share my screen again. And I will put you guys over here so I can actually see if questions do happen. All right. Hold on. There we go. All right. So within your account, this is just an example account. Always, it's the same. Whether it doesn't matter what type of campaign you want to create, you just click on the Create Campaign. This is the campaign type we are talking about specifically. It's just sponsored display. So I'm going to, I already know what this product is, so I'm going to just give it the name and sponsored display, product targeting. So these are just little things that I like to do. Some people like to put ASINs in here or dates. You can do whatever naming convention you want as long as it's easy to find after the fact. Now, Amazon's always going to, for sponsored display product targeting campaigns, it's always going to give you a daily budget of $100. I've done these many, many, many times. It doesn't matter what product I'm looking at adding, it's always going to say $100. And it's telling you most campaigns of the budget over $100 run throughout the day. So I'm going to let this be because this particular user can afford it. But if you need to adjust this budget, go ahead and just watch it and see if it's staying on, throughout the day. So I'm going to name this ad group XB, and then I'm going to find it again. All right. So I believe all of these. And again, so as I mentioned before, there's actually two different types of campaigns for sponsored display. Sponsored display sponsored display is known more really for their audience targeting. And their audience is external. So it's going to potentially show your ad on and off Amazon. And this is something I went through a few weeks ago, as actually on July 20th, because I wanted people to take advantage of the 30-day look back that this provides. That would include Prime Days, because Prime Days was the 30 days before on June 19th and 20th. So if you're interested in that one, take a look at the last one that I did, which was on July 20th. But product targeting is what we've been talking about here. Now, this is a new thing from Amazon that which we don't even have yet in our tool. They're giving you an option to how you want to optimize the bids. So either optimize for conversions or optimize for page visits. So since this is a product targeting campaign, which means we're trying to be seen more on specific product pages, that's why optimize for page visits is the one that is highlighted. If I change it to audiences, yeah, it doesn't matter because actually that's off anyways. So just if you have questions about these, Amazon does a pretty good job. You can click on learn more. It opens up a separate window and it gives you a little bit more detail into what these different things are. So I'm going to leave it again on page visits because we're trying to get people to pages, specific pages to then see your particular product, right? So default bids, it's saying it's $1. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that as $1. Now, see, as I mentioned before, so Amazon's really pushing categories, right? So look at all these categories that Amazon is suggesting to us right now. And most of these aren't even relevant. Livestock, feeding and watering supplies, cat nursing supplies. I mean, this is an immune support product for pets. That's all this is. So the thing that's probably the most is dog multivitamins, right? Because vitamins are good for pets. This is kind of specifically for dogs. So I'm just going to select this first one, but just make sure you look and read through before you add any of these things. But again, as I said in my slide presentation, that never just hit add, hit refine first, okay? Because that is going to give you the ability to do the refinements that I explained earlier in the slide sessions, right? There's not a particular brand that I want to be seen on or not be seen on, but this is really kind of cool. Amazon basically gives you in the dog multivitamin category, this is every single brand that Amazon has on recorded, right? So you could select just specific brands that you want to be targeting, which means you're not going to be seen on other brands. But I like to keep this one pretty broad again. So this particular product is $20. So I'm going to say that the minimum that I want to be seen on this product on is 21. So if a product is $21 and over, this is a page I want to be seen on because my particular product is less expensive. That gives me a slight competitive advantage, right? But as you can see, as soon as you start drilling down into these things, it starts telling you how many products there actually are that fit that category. So as soon as I hit 21, it reduced that number quite a bit. There's only 340 to 565 products in this category that are above $21, all right? Which is fine because again, we want this to be kind of niche. This particular product has 5 stars. So I could leave it here if I wanted to, but if I wanted to be super competitive, I could change it to 4. Now I won't do that because that's a really, really small pool of products to then target. So I'll leave it at 5, which is fine because I know, again, this product is 5 stars. So this is fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and click add. And then that gives you the category, but with the refinements that you just selected, right? I'm also, because I did the research that I mentioned before, I looked through this particular campaign or product has lots of different campaigns. Auto campaign, it has a sponsored product targeting campaign that's already been running. So I have ASIN data based on previous campaigns that I've saved the ASINs for. So when you click on individual products, then it's moving out of the category selection into individual. And you have several options here. Amazon's going to give you some suggestions, which in this case, I probably wouldn't say are going to be super reliable. Sometimes their suggestions are good, so you might want to look at that. You can hit search and type in certain product names or ASINs, and it will pull it up. Or you can enter a list or upload. Since I've already done a little research before this, pulled up that list again from previous or from actually currently running campaigns, I have a list of ASINs that I also want to target. So add those, and then it all gets added here. You're going to see now I've got all these different ASINs, 51 of which I added, and a category, all right? And they're all set at the default bid of $1. So if you wanted to do, this is the customized creative, which is definitely something I always suggest that you do, only because I feel like it stands out a little bit more. But you have to have your brand logo saved. Now, this particular logo that's saved is not this product. So there is, I can't use this particular one, which is actually fine. This product does super well, so I don't really need the customization. I want to test to see how much this does, basically as a standalone, and that's it. So I'm going to launch this campaign, and it I believe it gets put right away. It gets approved. If you added the creative and the tagline or headline, whatever you want to call it, like I mentioned, then you'd see an approval status, because they do look at what you've written and the logo you've put in. They want to make sure that you're not putting in any language that's not allowed. Always follow Amazon's recommendations for or requirements, I should say, for doing any kind of branding for your campaigns. And that's it. So I know I went through that pretty quickly, but if you've done your homework and you've done your research, and you follow these methods on refining the categories, and making sure it's the correct categories and such, then you shouldn't have any issues launching this particular campaign type. And again, if you have not launched this campaign type before, and you do so now between the yesterday and Monday, I believe it's the 16th. So whatever 2 Mondays is, it's because it's a 2-week promotion from Amazon. Then you will see that credit added to your account at, again, the end of the month. They want to make sure that it's a campaign that's live for at least 10 days, I believe, before they add that credit. But this is something that we're very excited about. We hope you guys take advantage of this special offer that Amazon Advertising is really only doing with us here at Helium 10. So this is a benefit that is exclusive, for you guys to take advantage of. And I hope we get to do many more of these types of promotions with Amazon, because at the end of the day, it only benefits you guys to test these different types of products, these types of campaigns for your products. And I've seen nothing but success with this particular campaign type in particular, sponsored display product targeting. I've done case studies on it at the beginning of the year, which I just shared with you guys. So we're seeing nothing but really benefits, both from an overall perspective and branding perspective, as well as the campaigns themselves can do really, really well. And of course, this is all dependent on your product and the category, the competition. So everyone has different success, but I strongly believe in this particular campaign type, which is why we went ahead and did this promotion. All right, let's see. We've got a few follow-up questions from Hamad. We have a couple of minutes. I'll go over since we waited a little bit to get started. So Hamad asks if we have different variation products. So should you run a PPC campaign on every variation? Can we run PPC campaigns on wholesale products? So Hamad, I don't know if you were on earlier when I talked about variations, but it's the same answer. It's up to you. What's your budget? If you have enough budget to run PPC campaigns across all of your variations, then do it, because that's going to be a really quick way to get data on which variations perform the best. If you have a really tight budget, then pick a product variation that you think is going to be the most successful one. Drive PPC to that, and then let the results of people landing on that page and then picking different variations, let that then drive your strategy on which variation of that product you're going to then move forward with PPC. All right. If you guys have any other questions on this session, if you have questions specifically related to the promotion, actually use the PPC AMA at helium10.com. So the promotion that we've been talking about today is specific to kind of like my department, so to speak. So I would be able to answer those particular questions directly for you guys. If I didn't answer a question that you guys have maybe think of after the fact, also feel free to use this email address to reach out, and our team looks at those. And then if you do have any other questions regarding Helium-10 or Atomic or Many Coats, then use support at helium10.com, and you can get your questions answered there on anything else that is outside of PPC focus or Atomic. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining today. Make sure, I know we kind of pushed, our schedule is kind of got pushed a little bit because of this promotion that we're talking about here today getting pushed. This promotion was originally supposed to be on the 2nd of August. So technically last Tuesday is when I should have gone on in my regular rotation for these PPC AMAs. So that's why it is today versus last Tuesday. But I will be back in 2 weeks. So August 24th, make sure you guys you come back. And this one that I'm going to be doing on the 24th, it will be a straight up a PPC AMA. So send your questions into that email. I will really just be going on. And as you guys know, Bradley sometimes he just goes on live and he starts answering all types of questions. That's what I'll be doing in 2 weeks from today. Again, make sure that they are PPC specific. I will not answer any questions that are not related to PPC or specific to using tools. Atomic, other tools I'm pretty familiar with as well. So feel free to answer anything PPC or ask anything PPC related coming up here in 2 weeks. All right. Yes, Jake, anything related to PPC. Thanks, guys. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.